All right, Matt, yet again, another UFC debut, but it's a familiar face for a lot of people in Kyler the Matrix Phillips, and he's going to be taking on perennial prospects, younger brothers. So this kid's going to be a prospect for the entirety of time, and Gabriel Silva, younger brother of the prospect, Eric Silva. Matt, I'm going to start the 2-minute timer here because, again, a lot of people are going to be familiar with Kyler Phillips. He was on the first season of Dana White's Contender Series, got a win there, but it wasn't enough to earn a full contract with the UFC. So he competes on the Ultimate Fighter Season 27, loses in the opening round to Brad Katona, who unfortunately got cut here recently, fellow Canuck. And then just continued on with his career. So he lost after that in another promotion on the regional scene. Then he was able to get a win in early 2019. And then he was booked to take on Ray Borg on short notice, but was forced out of that fight due to injury. So he's been off for about a year. He's taken on Gabriel Silva, who in his debut, listen, is it a coincidence? I don't know, took on Ray Borg and lost that fight. But Matt, if you're Gabriel Silva, what do you have to do properly to kind of pick up the pieces? I mean, that's a really tough debut to have against Ray Borg, whether it's at 25 or 35. Ray Borg's a tough out. So if you're Gabriel Silva, you can't just rest on your, listen, I'm Eric Silva's brother type of laurels, but he's got good jiu-jitsu. We know that for a fact, and I can back that up, and maybe I can't. But out of 556 votes over on Tapology, 80% going with Silva, 84% predicting a decision. Silva's a favorite in this fight at a -125, whereas Kyler Phillips is +100. So we have Kyler Phillips, who hasn't competed in over a year. We have Gabriel Silva, who, if you look at his entire body of work, he's 7-1, but that's split over, what, 8 years? 7, 8 years at this point? He had a long layoff, and then he came back. How do you see this fight? It's a weird one.
It is a weird one, and that's the best way of saying it. There's so many question marks going into this. I feel like we say this almost every event where you do have guys who haven't fought in the UFC before making their debuts. It's going to be really interesting because Octagon jitters, people like to talk about that, but when both guys are experiencing it, kind of cancels itself out. Gabriel Silva, like you said, phenomenal grappler. He's always going to have that no matter what. His striking is not good, though. We were talking about it like, okay, Herbert Burns has the grappling of his brother. We just didn't know if he had everything else for his brother, and it turns out he did.
Nate Landwehr, what bam!
Exactly, and he had a really good performance. Gabriel Silva has that jiu-jitsu acumen. He just doesn't really show his striking, and that's going to be a big issue. Kyler Phillips, all he has to do is not get taken down in this fight. I thought going into this that Gabriel Silva would kind of have an easy win, but upon further review, just looking back at Gabriel Silva's past fights, his striking is such a liability that if he does fight anyone who can stuff that takedown, beat him up on the feet, he's going to have a very hard time in the UFC, and I do believe Kyler Phillips is probably going to be the guy to do that.
If you're training out of Arizona with a team like the MMA lab that Kyler Phillips has, you have so many great resources. I mean, just pick a few names from there. Benson Henderson is pretty much their head coach. There's all sorts of great people there. And I feel like that quality of training partner. And listen, that's not to knock Silva. He's a Team Nogueira guy. I mean, you see it in the pictures on Instagram, posing with such Brazilian greats as Warley Alves. He beat Colby Covington. I know Kamaru did, but so did Warley Alves. It's just going to say that Kyler Phillips, he's going to have a height and reach advantage here. And yes, there's a long layoff. And yes, there's a lot of question marks. And again, maybe not the most, biggest lock of the night. But this is one of those fights where I'm going to agree. I'm going to take Kyler Phillips, the underdog here. I know Matt's going to be taking Phillips as well. UFC Norfolk. Great card. A lot of UFC debuts. A lot of good stuff. And you're not going to want to miss all the info in our 2-minute predictions for the main card, for the prelims, and 5 minutes for the main event. Here at Fight Night Picks, we always say, Matt, let's get into it.